yeah.
I do have t-shirts for everybody as well in my car, and I'll give them to y'all after lunch. But we have a really special guest. Dan Reeves, who you probably all know, is a former coach of the awesome team, Atlanta Cowboys. Who loves the Cowboys? We are here to talk about, he is a wonderful, revered person in Atlanta and across the country about his leadership, his style in helping others, and he is a true giver of the community. So I thought he'd be a wonderful person to come talk to y'all a little bit about, have little tips and hopefully some good advice about your future and how you can be great leaders in the community. So please help me welcome Dan Reeves.
Watching y'all do your singing and dancing, get ready to that was great. A little rhythm going there. You know, because I won't take you know, much of your time, but I think it's such a great thing that y'all are doing, and all the goals and so forth that you're setting. You know, a lot older, got a lot of experience. You know, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. And believe me, through life, there's a lot of times you're going to go through situations where you aren't going to get what you want. I'm fortunate to be a part of 9 Super Bowls, and out of those 9 Super Bowls, lost 7 of them. So got right to the door of being, you know, world champions, and then all of a sudden you're denied, and you denied something that you wanted, you know, very badly, worked very hard for, and yet you weren't able, you know, to accomplish it. But I grew up in South Georgia, and actually on a farm between Americus and Andersonville. Lived on a 275-acre farm, and really got up every morning about 4 or 4:30. My dad used to walk down the hall, and I could hear his footsteps coming, and he would say, "Hit the floor. It ain't daylight, but it's 4 o'clock." And we'd have to hit the floor, and had a lot of chores that I had to do: feed the hogs, feed the cows, do all kind of things before I caught the school bus every morning, you know, to go to school. And really and truly, growing up, I really thought that's what everybody was like. I thought everybody did the same thing I did. And then when I was in the 9th grade, I was able to go to a city school, and you know, saw that people, you know, live differently. And from working on that farm, I learned a lot of great things. The one thing I learned, you know, is when I was a freshman in high school, I had played football, but I never played organized football. You know, we played tackle football with no pads on. You don't hit very hard when you don't have pads on. You kind of drag people down. But, you know, played football, played all sports, you know, when I was in, you know, through the 9th grade. But then I had a chance to play organized football, and had to ask my dad, because I was going to miss some of those farm chores, if I could, you know, play football. And I remember what he said to me. He said, "Son, I think it's great that you want to play." He said, "But I want you to understand one thing." He says, "Once you start," he said, "you aren't going to quit." Well, I promise you, there's probably 1,000 times from that first day I walked on that practice field at Americus High School until I finished playing with the Dallas Cowboys, that there was probably 1,000 times I often wondered what the heck I was doing there. Any of you participated in anything that, you know, go for 2 and 2.5 hour practices, about 95 to 100 degrees, and, you know, you feel like you're going to absolutely die, and the coach said, "Okay, we're going to get in shape, we're going to run 20, 40-yard wind sprints." I think, my gosh, I have trouble counting to 20. How am I going to get to run that many? But something pushes you, you know, and makes you go. The thing that I learned is that you've got to do that in everything that you do. When I coached, you know, as a head coach in the National Football League, you know, have training camp, and you would go out, and invariably I would have guys come in and say, "You know, Coach, I just don't have a chance. There's too many guys in front of me, and I know I can't make this football team," and want to quit. Well, my encouragement was then, don't do it. You know, I'll be the first one to tell you, if I don't think you can make our football team, you know, I'll be the first one to tell you, but you go ahead and give me every effort that you can, because that's what you got to do in life. You never know when all of a sudden something is going to happen, a little break here, a little break. It may be completely dark out there, but there's a little ray of sunshine that gives you hope that you can accomplish something, and all of a sudden you get that chance and you do it. I was a free agent. I had been a quarterback my entire career in high school and college. The Dallas Cowboys signed me as a free agent. I wasn't drafted. And I went out, and they probably had about 9 or 10 running backs in front of me. I mean, I could have looked at that and said, gosh, I have no chance. But I knew I wasn't going to quit. Somebody was going to have to tell me that I couldn't make it. Kept pushing myself, pushing myself, pushing myself, and all of a sudden, 4 or 5 running backs got hurt. And what did that give? It gave me an opportunity to show what I could do. So sometimes when it's really dark and really dreary and you look and you think you got no hope, just keep pushing, because you never know that little ray of sunshine. Something's going to pop out that gives you hope and gives you a chance. And when you have that opportunity, you want to take advantage of it. I went off to college at the University of South Carolina and went to the Dallas Cowboys. And when I was in Dallas, I played for a coach named Coach Tom Landry. And they asked me to speak at an Easter sunrise service at a Gatesville, Texas, at the State Reform School for Boys. And I remember standing there that Sunday morning, they marched kids in front of me between the ages of 8 and 15 years old. And I remember thinking to myself, what in the world can a kid 8 years old do wrong to be in a reform school? Well, you find out that they, in a lot of situations, did not have an opportunity or a chance to learn for themselves the difference between right and wrong. They didn't have a mom and dad that loved them enough, cared enough about them, or a school teacher or a coach that loved them enough, cared enough about them, to teach them the difference in right and wrong. And how many times have you heard somebody, whether it's your parents or not, say, you are who you associate with. Be careful about who you pick as your friends. You know, it's so important that you surround yourself with the right kind of people. Here were 8 and 9-year-old kids that were looking up the kids that were older than they were, that were doing the wrong thing. And they thought there was nothing wrong with it because the big kids are doing it and they did it and they get in trouble. So be careful about, who you associate with, and that will help you in a lot of different ways, no question about it. Surround yourself with good people, good friends, the things you're looking for. And, the thing that's happening is so much, and it was happening back in my time, where you had guys that, were bullies. Oh yeah, they were going to be the ones that are going to push everybody else around. There's no place for that. You got to reach out and embrace and try to help everybody. Don't hate people. Love people. That's the best thing you could do. Is embrace them. If somebody says something to you, put a big hug on them. Kind of turn their attitude around a little bit. So you gotta, never give up in this world. I don't care what kind of background you come from. I was raised on that farm. I thought, God, that's where I'm going to be the rest of my life. And you know what? It became a big motivator for me. Because I knew I wanted to do something different to work on that farm. And I was fortunate if I ended up getting a college scholarship because I, had some people who loved me and cared enough about me that, made me get a good education in high school. Because I don't care how good an athlete you are, you don't make good grades, you can't get into the, college of your choice. So the grades, work on those grades, get the good grades and get you an opportunity, a chance to better yourself and go somewhere else. So always put your goals high. Always set them high and never give up on them. And continue to work hard to try to achieve those things. Okay? Yeah. Anybody got anything else? Any questions? Anybody want any questions you might have? When you're 67 years old like I am, you learn a lot of things. So, yes, sir.
I want to know what you think about our family this season.
Well, I tell you, they've been up and down, this year, but they got a good football team. They've lost, some close ball games. I think last week they kind of got their mentality back that they need to, run the football. Got Michael Turner, involved in running the football, not turning it over, don't make the mistakes, that cost them. And, they ended up making some big plays in the fourth quarter that, really count. Got a big test this week, going to Detroit and playing Detroit. And Detroit's coming off of a loss, their first loss in about, they had won 9 straight counting, from last year. And so now they're back down to earth and they're going to be ready, playing in Detroit. So this will be a great test for them. I think, they've been in the playoffs now 3 straight years, lost to the Super Bowl champions the last 2 years in the playoffs. So, they're getting better and better. I think they're going to have a chance this year to get in the playoffs, and then hopefully they're healthy and playing well when the playoffs come. Great time to be a Falcon fan, because you got to have a quarterback position, and Matt Ryan's doing a great job. Yes, sir.
We tell people that the secret to success is lifting people up in life, whether it be your peers, your teachers, your parents?
Well, if I look back on my life, it's teachers and coaches that through my career that, really gave me the hope that, hey, I could do something, better, that really lifted me up and built me up. And, I said, when I was a freshman in high school, I was the slowest player on the team. Everybody, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, could all outrun me, but my coach made me stay out, worked on getting faster, worked on drills and trying to improve and so forth. And, I found out you can improve on those things, and I ended up barely getting a scholarship to one school. I was signed as a free agent in college. And it was because people told me you can do it. You can do it. I had parents that were very, very much encouraged me throughout it, my entire life to always set your goals high and work hard. So, yeah, people that have lifted me up, and I can name teachers right now that made a huge difference in my life. By telling me some things and telling me to have hope that you could do this, and go on to college. And education is huge. It's hard to compete in the world that we're in now when you don't have an education. So it's so important to get that that high school and college education. It helps you gain an advantage, and that's what you're looking for, is an advantage. But yeah, lifting people up, and that it doesn't have to be I can tell you a quick story. When I was a freshman at South Carolina, I listened to a guy named Bob Richards. And Bob Richards had won a gold medal in the Olympics. And Bob Richards was a pole vaulter. He was the first guy I ever saw that was on Wheaties Breakfast of Champions box. And he was speaking, and he told a story about this kid that was the most highly recruited kid, that coming out of high school. And he was recruited by a coach at this time at Columbia University named Lou Little. And this kid, had all the talent in the world, but he had, in his senior year at Columbia University, had never started a single game, and yet he had all this talent. And coach got a call and asking him to inform the young man that his father had passed away. So he called the young man in his office and told him the sad news.